G'day, guys. Welcome back to the Flogsville podcast. It is welcome to season 2024. New surroundings here at Flogsville HQ for the commissioner. So exciting times. It's been a big off season. Lots been happening. Myself and Guns N' Roses coach Ben Bullymore having a bit of a crack at AFLW fantasy once again. We were both lucky enough to get a couple of hats as well. So that was exciting. 20th for me and 25th for Barrel. So two hats for Ben, which is huge. And that was the off season really. But footy is back. Recording this on Wednesday of the Pracky matches. We had last night's game, Collingwood Richmond, and then we've got opening round literally in 8 days' time. So probably time to start making your team, if you haven't done so already, making copious amounts of changes as per usual this time of year, and get fooled by all the usual suspects and plenty of other players that bob up in the pre-season. So just wanted to make a couple of videos about the season. It is very different this season. I think it's going to be some good changes for the game, and in terms of our league, what's happening. So let's start with that. So round zero we're going to get next week, and we've got a few teams on that round zero, and they're playing, as you know, in Queensland and Sydney, and they're going to play some games starting with Sydney and Melbourne. Now, our season does not start at round zero. It is a free hit. It's a proper match, counts for points. So we'll get at all those teams on that opening round. We'll get a great look at some of those options, and I'll go through some of those options in a club by club preview sort of video, which I'm going to record shortly. So it's a free hit. That includes looking at roles, looking at rookies, premiums. So it's a good opportunity, and a lot of those teams are top fantasy teams as well. We've got Collingwood, Melbourne, Sydney, GWS, all those teams. Gold Coast are super relevant this year. Collingwood, of course, Nick Dacos, I think I said Collingwood already, but play on. So round zero is going to be huge, to look at plenty of options there. So our season will start in round one, and how the pricing works for those round zero players is their score counts, which is great, and then their scores after round zero and round one will then equate to how much they go up and how much they average. Will determine their price rise or decline. So there's a bit of strategy there already, that those mid-price guys that we're going to speak lots more about, and the rookies, if they score well in round zero, that's going to kickstart that cash generation. So I think the fantasy's done its best it can to get the season going, and I like the format, and we'll go through the early buys. Because I think it will diversify teams, but I'm just a little bit concerned that if round zero, for example, Taylor Adams comes out and scores well, he's got the role, Luke Parker, broken arm as well, opens up that midfield spot for him. I feel like it might make our teams a little bit similar in terms of those round zero guys, but how many you have is really dependent on what your game plan is, whether you're going for overall rank or purely for Flogsville. You could stack your team with heaps of those early buy players and just ride them out and rely on those best 18 scores during those rounds. So we'll talk about that shortly. So hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully, we get some rookies that do pop in round zero, which would be nice, but it might be a situation where we had like Kane Chandler last year and Nick Martin the year before as a rookie come out and ton up, and then everyone jumps on who didn't start with them. So we're all going to be starting in round one, which is good, I think, but I'm just a little fearful that our teams might look a little bit similar in terms of rookies and mid prices. But I think premiums this year, there's so many options, and we're going to go through those in the next video. So that's pretty much it. So in terms of round one is the normal round. It is best 22. Our league will start in round one. So that'll be good for a bit of normality. Round one and round four are best 22. Round four is gather round. So all teams are playing, all 18 clubs are playing. So you'll have the 9 fixtures in both round one and round four, and then your usual loopholes, all those kind of things are in play. And then in rounds 2, we have Brisbane and Carlton on the early season bye. So, popular options are Kitty Coleman, not so much now, but Sam Walsh was for a little while until his back injury is flared up again. So those kind of guys will be on that first bye. And a Zach Williams as well, if he gets a game and is fit and ready to go. If they score well, so Kitty Coleman, for example, comes out round 0, scores 95, and then in round 1 goes well again, scores another 90. Do you take that punt and start with him, knowing that he's not going to be available the next week and you'll have to rely on a rookie defender to come in for you? It is best 18, so if that rookie defender comes in and scores a 20 or a 30, it shouldn't count anyway. So that's kind of an example of how it might all play out. And that's the strategy involved. You can have as many of these guys as you want, during those early bye rounds, but you'll just have to cop it a little bit if you have too many on the same bye. Your Sydneys, Melbourne, those sort of teams, GWS, Gold Coast are a few in that round 3, round 5 and round 6 bye, where there's plenty of options from those teams that you might just have to be careful how many you actually have. But again, it depends on what your strategy is. If it's focusing on Flogsville, load up, and maybe those first couple of rounds you might have some losses compared to other teams, but then later in the season, if you've jumped on a guy like Tom Green after he comes out and dominates, or even Errol Goulden, we know what happened with Clayton Oliver last year. He just came out and dominated. So you might get that situation where you might have a player that has a round 5, round 6 bye. They're averaging 125 and you're the one with them. You might just cop, taking a rookie score, rookie 60 that week, and even though you've got that player, whereas everyone else who's worried about overall and is maybe not trying to bring in bye players, you'll have that advantage a little bit. So it'll be interesting. I think it's, like I said, I'm a little bit fearful of this round 0 and teams being too similar in terms of the rookies that are playing and the mid prices, because we get a free look at them, which is unheard of. And even guys like Grundy and Gawn, you get a look at them, see how they go. They play against each other, which is probably an interesting point. Will we stay strong if Brodie Grundy struggles against Max Gawn, which he might? Lots to dive into in terms of strategy around that, but that's the way it's going to work. So round 1, round 4, normal rounds. We'll play our matchups. Rounds 2, 3, 5 and 6, normal rounds, except they're going to be best 18. So still 2 trades a week. You should be able to field easily a good 18 on those rounds, provided that you don't have a team full of, players from the same club. I tell you what, this year, if North Melbourne were one of those early bye teams, my team would be in Struggle Town, which is kind of a bit of sneak peek into my thinking. I think North Ball, as they've called it, could be very interesting. So plenty of North Melbourne boys rolling around the Sarongs at the moment. Let's have I got anything in my notes? Just mid-season buys are the same. So they're the 4-week period, 3 trades a week, really simple. We won't play during those weeks as per usual, so that's all sweet. And that's pretty much it for this video. So I'll keep it at this sort of under 10 minutes. I think it's a good sort of size for you guys, and it's pretty much just to get your head around it. I'm sure all of you are across it, but there's not too much different, except the early buys it is what it is. During those rounds we get best 18, so maybe that leans towards having a few more guns and rookies, knowing that you might get a few of those scores drop off anyway, so you might as well jump on and load up those primos, especially in the midfield. I think midfield and defence, we've got some really good options. And then in terms of value, we've got some big options in the ruck, of course, with a big 3 there in X areas. We love to call him Gawn and Grundy as the standout value picks there, and the forward line it's a bit of a dog's breakfast, but Sam Flanders stands out as that guy, but he's got the early buy, so whether you wait on him or you bring him in straight away, because he looks like we saw how he finished last year. He was amazing, and he looks like he's going to keep that same role, but we'll get a look at it in round 0 anyway. So Nick Daicos again. I know it was controversial last year, people starting him. Whether you go that again based on his fixture, he's got the early buy. What does he need to score in round 0 to have him be a must-have kind of thing? So yeah, they're just some of the questions. So I'll catch you in the next video.